There's something truly terrifying happening at this abandoned pizza place. If you don't know, this is part 2 to the full spoiler of Five Nights at Freddy's. And if you want to find part 1, go to my other page tagged below. And if you hate spoilers, go ahead and get your ticket to the cinema or go watch it on Peacock. The place where we left off is where Mike had the reoccurring dream again, but this time he actually spoke to one of the children. Mike asked if they saw the person that took his little brother Garrett. And the little boy said, "If we tell you, what are you gonna do for us?" And Mike says that he will give anything, just tell him who took his brother. Little does he know, in the waking world, Abby actually woke up, and she's decided to go walk around the pizzeria. And not until Mike hears her scream does he wake up. He rushes to go find her and sees something honestly terrifying. Those animatronics are alive, and they're surrounding her. He attempts to fight them off, but these things are huge. But that's when Abby comes out of the commotion, smiling and laughing. She says that they would not stop tickling her. That's when Mike does something that all of us probably would have done at that point. He grabs Abby and leaves. Once they get home, he tries to talk to her about it, and soon realizes that the animatronics are possessed by the children that went missing. And they're also most likely the ones that he sees in his dreams. That's when Mike asks Abby if she could talk to them. He found one of her drawings and it was the exact depiction of what happened to Garrett. So maybe since they like her and are willing to tell her things, maybe they'll also tell her who took him. She agrees and they end up going back to Freddy's. This time, once they arrive, Vanessa is already there. And for the ones who didn't go back and watch part 1, Vanessa is the cop. Once they walk through the front doors, Mike realizes that Vanessa knew this entire time. And before he can ask a million questions, Abby demands that they all build a fort together. And when I say all, I mean Abby, Vanessa, Mike, and the animatronics. Once they're done building the fort, Vanessa realizes that they don't have a roof. So her and Mike go to the back to try and find some tablecloths. While in the back, Mike questions her on how she knows so much about this place. But she kind of dodges those questions, and instead asks him why he cares so much. That's when Mike admits that he's trying to get Abby to ask them what happened to their brother, and this only makes Vanessa really upset. They return back to the fort where they find Abby dancing with her new friends, and for the most part she's having a really good time. But that's when things take a very dark turn. Abby goes up to one of the animatronics playing the electric guitar, and once she goes to touch the strings of the guitar, it explodes. Abby ends up getting mildly electrocuted and flies back onto the floor. When she finally wakes up, Vanessa is hugging her, telling her how sorry she is. And our main character, Mike, is just in shock. That's when they close up the pizzeria for the night. And just before Mike can leave, Vanessa stops him. And she tells him that if he ever brings Abby back to this place, she will shoot him herself. This leads Mike to become a little bit depressed. He just wants to do the right thing, and right now it feels like the opposite. So that night, just before going back to work, he calls his aunt. He really needs someone to watch Abby for the night, but the babysitter is still MIA. But when Abby sees the aunt coming out of the kitchen, she is livid, screaming at Mike and telling him that she hates him. Then she immediately goes to her room and slams the door. And while she's there, she is ruining every drawing that she ever made with him. He doesn't have time for this though. He has to go to work. And once he gets there, he doesn't stop to check for anything. He goes straight to his desk, takes his sleeping pill, and falls asleep to nature sounds. And that's when he finds himself back in that dream. But this time, everything is different. His little brother is sitting at the picnic table with his parents. Then suddenly the children appear standing behind Mike. Mike tells them that this isn't right. This isn't what he asked for. And one of the children steps forward and says that this is what he wants. He knows that he wants his little brother back, and this is his opportunity to have him. But first, he has to give them what they want. And of course, Mike asks what they want, and that's when they say that they want Abby. Mike can have his little brother back as long as he gives them Abby. And for a moment, he thinks about it, and his little brother even encourages him to do it. And his mother promises they can be happy again. And that's when Mike says yes. They can have Abby so he can have Garrett. But that's when he has a vision of Abby waking up. Something is not right. This is not what he wants. So he tells them no, he didn't mean it. But now it's too late. He turns around to find everything is gone. There are no trees, there are no children, and his family is not there. And that's when they start running past him, cutting every piece of his body. And then he finally wakes up in this terrifying death trap. Somehow he manages to escape, but the animatronics are after him. While at the same time, one of them has went to go get Abby. And Abby, being so naive and innocent, she has no clue what they're doing. But they're bringing her back to the pizzeria. And just before she gets there, Mike manages to make an escape with the help of Vanessa. And this is where we find our huge plot twist. When Vanessa saves him, she patches up his wounds. And that's where she tells him the truth. Those kids who went missing at Freddy's were abducted by a man in a yellow animatronic bunny suit. And that man was her father. And the way that those kids disappeared is not that much of a mystery. He unalived them and hid them inside of the animatronic suits. And that's why the police were never able to find them. That's when he says that they're after Abby. So Vanessa does everything she can to help him. And this unfortunately just means telling him how to disarm the suits for a while. And that is through electric shock. So she gives him a bunch of tasers and sends him on his way. Because honestly, she says that she will not be much help if she sees her father. And this leads us to the climax. Mike ends up sneaking into the pizzeria while at the same time they're taking Abby to the back room. That is where Abby realizes what their real intentions are. They're trying to put her in this suit and keep her there forever. But obviously she refuses, and with the help of Mike, she manages to get away. But that's when the man in the yellow bunny suit comes out. And as much as they try to fight him off, he is too strong. But thankfully Vanessa comes to their rescue. And that's where he takes off the headpiece to the suit. You guys, this is the plot twist. The man who was the talent agent that got Mike the job was the man who owns the place. The same man who abducted those children and unalived them. Vanessa tries to fight him off, but he ends up hurting her really badly. Now both Mike and Vanessa are defenseless, but Mike has an idea. I didn't mention this before, but Abby told Mike that the animatronics, aka the children, love drawings. So in this moment, Mike tells Abby to draw a picture of what really happened. Tell the children what the man did to them. And once she does, the children turn on him. And he suffers one of the most brutal deaths that I've ever seen, if it was actually a death. And while this is happening, the building starts falling apart. So Mike, Abby, and Vanessa quickly try to get out of there. And thankfully they do. And after this day, they somehow try to get back to normal. Abby is more open to playing with other kids. Mike has a new job. And unfortunately, Vanessa is still in the hospital recovering. But for the most part, we see a happy ending. So yeah, this movie is crazy. And if you wanted to know what happened to the babysitter and her friends who went to vandalize the place, well, let's just say they did not make it. But those of you who made it to the end, thank you guys for listening to the full spoiler of Five Nights at Freddy's. And hopefully I'll be able to make more of these soon. But yeah, if you haven't seen the movie, I still suggest that you go watch it for yourself. Again, it's in theaters right now, but you can also watch it on Peacock. I have to say, it's a 10 out of 10 for me, so definitely go check it out.